Hi, I'm Dan from Evolution Support Services, and welcome to this EFT tapping titled Thinking for Yourself. Thinking for yourself, or knowing what we want or our needs and desires, kind of go together. And it may seem strange to do it in EFT tapping on just thinking for ourselves, but this can actually be a struggle for some people. So, taking full responsibility for our own well-being, let's begin to tap and repeating after me as we tap. And let's go with that flow. Even though I want to be thinking for myself, because I'm pretty much with myself for the better part of my day. And there are some thoughts that I have that I'd like to think better of myself with. And I choose to love, honor, and accept myself, even though I might be thinking for myself, or I might be thinking for others. And this thinking for others sometimes makes it hard to think for myself, because I'm so busy thinking for others. And I choose to love, honor, and accept myself, even though I might not know what to think. And I might be thinking about thinking. And I choose not to think sometimes. And then I think a little bit more. And I think about that sometimes. And I choose to love, honor, and accept myself. I want to think for myself. I'm willing to think for myself. I am with myself for a better part of the day. And those other parts, I'm thinking for others. I'm thinking for myself while I'm thinking for others. And sometimes I forget to think about myself and my own needs and wants. And there are some people out there who really love me to do the thinking for them. And there are some people out there who don't want me having freedom of thought, or even being myself, or thinking for myself and my own wants and needs. And sometimes having this thinking, I really like to think. And I overthink, and I dig myself deeper into a thinking hole, a well of thought, and I might have knowledge to draw upon, or I might be calling out for help, because I'm stuck down that well of thought. And I'd like to think well of myself, but it's hard to think well of myself when I don't think highly of myself, and that I don't deserve. And there might have been people in my life who thought that was the appropriate response for my role in life. Because if I serve the needs and wants of others, then I'm doing the thinking for them as well. And any energy I have spare, I just don't have any thoughts towards myself. And if I do, they may be blaming thoughts. How did I get burnt out? I had the option of getting burnt out, and I thought it was the best possible option to choose to be burnt out. Or so I think. Now I might have been caught up thinking for others, serving their wants and needs, that I didn't spare a thought for myself. Whether it was my role and duty, or it's what people thought of me, that it was their role, my role and duty, to be there for them. And when I think about myself, I might think it's wrong to have wants and needs, to know what I want in my life, and to think clearly for myself. And if it's hard to think clearly, those muddy waters might have been stirred up. Or there might be a cyclone of thought about what is the appropriate response for this person or situation. Because if I don't think perfectly or act perfectly, there might be consequences. So I might spend a lot of time thinking or overthinking to give that perfect response that won't make me look bad in front of others, that won't make me feel bad, and won't make me think bad thoughts about myself. And when I do think about this, it doesn't feel too good. Definitely doesn't feel too good to think bad thoughts about myself in response to consequences due to other people's faulty thinking. And any knowledge that I acquire, I'm allowed to put that into practice. And when I think back to past events where I tried to learn something and get better, I did fail along the way. And there might have been people that thought highly of me or didn't think highly of me at all. And I got full of those thoughts that don't feel too good when I get something wrong in an effort to get better. When I do look at that, if someone's interrupting my ability to get better, that's not good for me, not good for my well-being, not good for how I think about myself. And to get better in myself, to learn and grow, to get a better sense of self, I need that autonomy of self. To know that separation between what I have to think for me and what other people expect of me to think for them. And I'm pretty sure they've got a brain in their head that allows thoughts, but shall I allow them to have me to think for them? Because in a way I'm disempowering them by not allowing them to learn and grow, by doing all the thinking and feeling for them. And they might not want this, but I'd like to think for myself and be there for myself. And you can have a whole community of individuals that enhance that community. And there is a difference between community and conformity. I can add to a community with my thoughts and values, but if my thoughts and values are shunned or devalued because I think differently, then that's not going to make me feel too good, is it? So sometimes in being myself, in knowing my wants and needs, is thinking for myself and being okay with that. And it may feel uncomfortable and it may not feel right. And I have to ask myself this question to think upon. Should it be right that I should not feel right because other people believe me to be wrong? And there might be a gut instinct that calls out in certain situations that I clearly know to be wrong. But I think differently. And I think I might just go with this red flag. I can dye it green. And my body has an intelligence too. It's sending clear signals of when I might be in danger. So I might allow the wisdom of my body and of my mind to guide me through life, which might mean a better connection with myself. And if trauma is a separation from self, a disconnection of sorts, then healing is a connection with myself, in my body and my mind, and even my spirit, of knowing who I am and what I want in my life. And not all people will agree with my way of thinking. And in some regards that's healthy, but in other regards, if people don't allow that, then they're trying to control my way of life and who I am as a person, which may have contributed to some of this disconnection. I'm thinking for myself. I'm getting in touch with myself. I know what aligns with my values and my body's values. I want to be able to guide myself throughout this life, knowing that I've got a good head on my shoulders and a body to carry me through. And I'll intrinsically listen to all parts of myself. And I'll listen to people offering help, and I'll take that in. And I'll have that as food for thought, but I won't allow it to weigh me down, these thoughts of others, because I'm thinking for myself and knowing what's best for myself in body, mind, and spirit. And taking a full breath in and out. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Cheers. So thinking for ourselves is knowing of ourselves as well, what we want in our lives, how we're going to direct ourselves. Many people are going to add to that. And if you think about it as adding ingredients to a soup, you can enhance the flavor of the soup, but sometimes it's too many cooks spoil the broth. So sometimes it's separating it into what you want to consume. What's your food for thought? So not allowing people to spoil in the sense of make something not nice in yourself. And that can be through adding the wrong ingredients, the wrong thoughts, the negative thoughts. So making sure that some of what we think of ourselves is a nice, healthy diet of mind. So I'm Dion from EFT Support Services, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.